So I asked 27 of my friends how much they sold their companies for, from 5 million exits to 26 million exits, and every single one of them did something specific to their business to get crazy multiples. So in this video, I'm going to show you what 5 of them did to achieve crazy outcomes so you can do it for yourself. And we're talking like Instagram theme pages, magazines about guns, and even firms protecting weird celebrities. You'll learn how they do it so that you can do it for your business. All right, so the first business is an Instagram theme page. Now this had profit of 650 grand, revenue of 1.4 million, but they sold for 5.5 million, which is crazy, which is actually crazy numbers because this sort of company should be selling for profit. But why did they sell for 5.5 million on a multiple of revenue? The reason why is very simple. It's because they sold to one of their biggest customers who was a fashion brand who was buying ads of them. And the lesson in here for you is that often your buyer could be someone who's already your customer. If your customer is using you to achieve some kind of an outcome, you might actually just go to them and say, rather than you keep paying us every single time, why not just buy us? This happens a lot with agencies. This happens a lot with media companies. So if you own any distribution, an Instagram account, a YouTube account, an email list, a community, maybe your potential buyer might actually be someone who's already spending with you. Right. The next business, which got a 6x multiple, is a healthcare and pharma PR agency. So what is that? Basically, when pharma companies and healthcare companies are announcing new products and services, they go to PR agencies like these guys to do the PR and get it out into the press and do interviews, podcasts, that sort of thing. Now, these guys got a 6x multiple on profit of 1.5 million, which is way above market. Typically, it's between 2 to 4. Why is that? They did that for 2 reasons. Number one is that they niched down. So they were specializing in healthcare and pharmaceutical, and that was actually incredibly important to get that premium. The second thing though was the buyer who bought them, and I know this because I know the founder, had already been working together with them cross-selling. Now this is a cheat code that you should use for your business, which is if you are potential wanting to sell your business, get a list of potential buyers and see whether there's a way in which you can cross-sell each other's products. Because what you're doing is that you are showing evidence that actually this could be more than just a partnership, but it could actually be something bigger. If you're cross-selling to the same set of customers and you're providing value together, maybe the bigger customer just goes, hey, this is working so well, let's stop dating, let's just get married. Now, the third business sold for 28 million pounds. 28 M's. Crazy, and a 7x multiple on profit. Now, why did they sell for so much? It's actually for 2 reasons, and I'm actually going to read from here. So the business is a medical supplies business serving care homes and private clinics. So when you went to private clinics and care homes, like the gloves, the masks, that sort of stuff, they were the guys who supplied it. And I actually asked the founder, how the hell did you sell for 7 times profit? And he said here, the private equity firm that bought us were doing a regional roll-up. So they were buying a lot of medical distributors in the Southwest. We had exclusive supply agreements with 2 major manufacturers and logistics setup that covered most of the Southwest. We also had a lot of recurring revenue from care homes and also the private clinics, which made it more predictable. Now, there are 2 things here that I absolutely love that you can use for your business. Number one, have you noticed that they said that the private equity guys were doing a roll-up in a regional area in Southwest, and that's why they got a big premium? Because what happens is if you are the big dog in a very specific location, you can get way higher multiples than if you were just spread out every single place. This applies to a lot of people who are running brick and mortar businesses. Sometimes we want to go for this national domination, but actually really owning a particular segment of the market would actually end up giving you a bigger premium. But then the second thing, the most important thing here is the recurring revenue nature. The fact that they got these recurring contracts with care homes meant that the premium was much higher, because in his particular industry, I know that the maximum these sort of companies get bought for is like 5x multiple, and he got 7x. Or because he did these 2 things, you should do that for your business as well. Number 4 out of the 5 is an online reputation management firm. Now, what does that mean? Basically, when celebrities and high net worth people get in trouble, they go to these guys to make sure no one's heard about it, right? They got 14 million value. Now, that is 8x their profit. 8x their profit in a market where you'll be really happy if you got 5x. Now, why did they do that? They did that for one thing, and you can use that for your business right now. And that is they had near 100% client retention. How did they have near 100% client retention? They only had 80 clients, but what they had was an active program to get them to spend more. So every month they'll reach out to them, telling them about what other people in the space are doing. They'll take them to events. They'll send them birthday gifts. They'll do all these these things so that they went from just being another supplier to actually being a trusted friend. And they did that for over 6 years. So eventually when a buyer came, they said, hey, we only have 80 clients, but those people have stuck with us for pretty much every single time. Now for you, Mr. Entrepreneur or Mrs. Entrepreneur, what you can do is you can have a very active client retention plan. Take a list of your customers and say, how can we constantly be in touch with them every single month? And how can we make sure that they're constantly thinking about us, hearing about us? And how can we move from just being a simple supplier to actually being a trusted advisor? Because when you do that, it may seem like very small, inconsequential things where you're like sending them emails or taking them to events or just doing these small things. But in the long term, it can end up with you being like these guys getting 8 times profit when everyone else is just getting 5 times profit when they come to sell. Now, the big boy, the guys who sold for 26 million a magazine about guns. These guys were making 2.9 million in profit and sold for 9 times profit, which is insane. Now, the main reason they were able to do that is something that you can do for your business right now, is that they had something which was called revenue variability. Now, what does that mean? It means that when you take your business, you are making money in multiple ways, which shows that you're more defensible. So this company, they had 180,000 email subscribers who were passionate about learning about guns, but they made money from subscriptions, they made money from events, they made money from advertising, they made money from research. So the same customer was being monetized in 4 different ways. And so when private equity saw that, they were like, wow, this is amazing. This is truly a defensible business. Let's place a much higher multiple on it. Now, that was just 5 of the 27 of my friends who sold their businesses for crazy multiples. If you want the rest of the list, which includes how much they sold for revenue, profit, multiple, rationale for multiple, and then notes for why they think they sold that much, all you got to do is click the link in the description and you get over to it, enter your email and make more money. Peace.